Most people assume that every engine has one unavoidable expense. Sooner or later, the oil has to be changed. Miss that maintenance, we're told, and the engine slowly destroys itself from the inside. But travel through Amish country, and you'll notice something surprising. Many of the engines powering workshops, farms, and family businesses have been running for decades. Some are older than the people operating them. They're not surviving because the Amish discovered some magical liquid that replaces motor oil. The real secret is far more fascinating. Instead of asking how to fix broken machines, Amish families have spent generations asking a different question. How do you prevent machines from wearing out in the first place? That simple shift in thinking has created a maintenance philosophy that many mechanics quietly admire, and it's based less on expensive products than on patience, observation, and everyday habits almost anyone can learn. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why the biggest secret isn't hiding inside an oil bottle at all. Across North America, Amish communities are known for horse-drawn buggies, handcrafted furniture, and a lifestyle centered on faith, family, and simplicity. To outsiders, it can seem as though machines play only a small role in their lives. The reality is far more interesting. Many Amish farms and workshops depend on carefully maintained equipment. Depending on the community, these may include stationary diesel engines, hydraulic systems, compressors, sawmills, or tractors used under local church guidelines. Because replacing machinery is expensive, every engine is viewed as an investment that deserves respect. Instead of squeezing every last hour from a machine before it fails, Amish craftsmen often focus on preventing unnecessary wear from the very beginning. Today we'll explore those forgotten habits, why they work, where they came from, and what they can teach anyone who wants equipment to last longer. But that's only the beginning. The most surprising lesson has almost nothing to do with oil itself. Morning begins quietly on many Amish farms. The sun rises over fields still covered with dew. Barn doors slide open. Horses are fed. Tools are gathered. Before engines roar to life, someone pauses. A quick glance underneath. A hand rests against the engine. A careful look for loose belts. Fresh leaks. Dust buildup. Unusual smells. These small inspections often take only a minute or two. Yet they can prevent hours of repairs later. Modern life often rewards speed. The Amish tend to reward attentiveness. Rather than assuming everything is fine until something breaks, they expect every machine to communicate its condition. A strange vibration. A different sound. A small drip. A slight change in performance. These aren't ignored. They're investigated. Long before major damage develops. Here's something mechanics have known for generations. Dirt is one of the greatest enemies of machinery. Dust clogs cooling fins. Debris traps heat. Old grease collects grit that slowly becomes abrasive. In woodworking shops, fine sawdust can settle almost everywhere. If ignored, it holds moisture, restricts airflow, and increases wear on moving parts. That's why many Amish workshops include regular cleaning as part of the workday itself. Not because everything must look perfect. Because clean equipment is easier to inspect. Problems become visible sooner. Cooling systems work better. Moving parts stay protected. It's a simple habit. But over years, simple habits become enormous advantages. And this is where things become even more interesting. Because cleanliness is only one piece of a much larger philosophy. Many people think maintenance begins when something breaks. The Amish often see maintenance as something that happens every single day. A loose bolt tightened today never becomes tomorrow's broken bracket. A worn belt replaced early never snaps during harvest. Fresh grease applied at the proper interval protects bearings long before expensive repairs become necessary. This approach doesn't eliminate oil changes. Rather, it helps oil do its job more effectively by reducing unnecessary stress throughout the entire machine. Heat, friction, contamination, poor alignment. These are the real enemies. Oil simply helps fight them. The Amish focus on reducing the battle before it starts. That mindset changes everything. Watch experienced craftsmen work around an engine. They rarely rush. Starting an engine gently allows lubricating oil to circulate before heavy loads are applied. Running equipment within its intended limits prevents unnecessary overheating. Listening carefully often reveals problems long before warning lights ever could. Older generations developed these habits because replacement parts weren't always nearby. Every unnecessary repair cost valuable time. Over decades, those experiences became traditions passed from parents to children. Knowledge wasn't stored in an app. It was stored in memory. Shared while repairing equipment together. Learned through observation. Repeated until it became second nature. That kind of practical education is becoming increasingly rare. Yet it's one of the reasons so many Amish workshops remain remarkably productive year after year. Modern advertising often celebrates replacing old equipment with something newer. The Amish perspective is different. If something still performs its job safely and reliably, why replace it? That philosophy extends beyond engines. Furniture is repaired. Tools are sharpened. Leather harnesses are maintained. Wooden buildings receive new boards instead of complete demolition. Machines follow the same pattern. Longevity becomes a form of stewardship. Not simply saving money, but respecting the resources required to build every tool in the first place. This way of thinking encourages careful ownership rather than constant consumption. And perhaps that's one reason visitors are often surprised by how much older equipment remains fully functional. Perhaps the greatest difference isn't mechanical at all. It's psychological. Many of us think maintenance is inconvenient. Something to postpone. Something to squeeze into an already busy schedule. The Amish often see maintenance as part of the work itself. Inspecting. Cleaning. Adjusting. Lubricating. These aren't interruptions. They're essential steps that make tomorrow's work possible. That change in perspective reduces emergencies before they begin. Instead of reacting to problems, they're quietly preventing many of them. It's not exciting. It rarely makes headlines. But over 20 or 30 years, the results become impossible to ignore. Whether you live on a farm, in a suburb, or in the middle of a busy city, these lessons remain surprisingly relevant. First, prevention almost always costs less than repair. Small inspections often reveal small problems before they become expensive ones. Second, cleanliness matters. Keeping equipment clean makes hidden issues easier to spot. Third, patience protects investments. Rushing machinery before it's ready often creates unnecessary wear. Fourth, practical knowledge grows through experience. Learning how something works makes it easier to recognize when something begins to change. Finally, stewardship is about gratitude. Taking care of what we already own can sometimes be more valuable than constantly searching for something new. None of these ideas require living an Amish lifestyle. They simply remind us that careful habits often outperform expensive shortcuts. The next time you hear someone searching for a miracle formula that promises to eliminate maintenance forever, remember what generations of Amish craftsmen quietly demonstrate every day. There is no magical liquid that replaces caring for a machine. There is no shortcut around attention, patience, and consistency. The longest-lasting engines are rarely the luckiest ones. They're often the ones that have been inspected, cleaned, lubricated, and respected throughout their lives. Perhaps that's the real Amish secret. Not avoiding oil changes. Not discovering a hidden chemical formula. But understanding that the best maintenance begins long before a wrench is ever needed. In a world that constantly encourages replacing things, their example reminds us that caring for what we already have may be one of the most valuable skills we can learn. And perhaps that's why so many tools, workshops, and traditions continue serving generation after generation, not because they're untouched by time, but because they're cared for with extraordinary consistency. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed learning about Amish life and hidden traditions that most people never see, be sure to subscribe and join us for more fascinating stories from beyond the Amish world.